So for today's bonus segment to the state of the market for law firm sales in 11 minutes, I'm very excited to introduce my colleague, Andy Goldstrom. Andy leads Midcourse Advisors, and we're going to discuss the future sales of law firms for those law firms that are generating their new business with a focus on digital marketing as compared to old school word of mouth marketing. So Andy, welcome. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy, and I'm glad to be here. And I am a fractional CEO / business coach. I've been working with law firm owners for a number of years, and had my own businesses before then that I grew rapidly and kind of learned how to do many of the right things, but also avoid some of the mistakes that I made to help bring value to, law firm owners to achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals. Sometimes it amounts in an acquisition or a sale.
Terrific. So let's jump right into it. Andy, what are your thoughts about digital rainmaking for lawyers and law firms in the mid-2020s and as we head towards 2030 and beyond?
Yeah, I think it's critically important. Everything digital is moving in that direction. In fact, just today, I heard my local hometown paper, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, that's been around for 159 years in print edition, is stopping its print edition. So things continue to change digitally. And in 2025, there was a study by lawyers.com that more than 70% of all leads come from online sources. So that's pretty sizable. And that includes SEO, content marketing, paid ads, and the ratio is not going to get any lower. It's only going to get higher. But the one thing I know is that in all my coaching is that leads are important, but they don't pay the bills. New clients do. And so the rate of conversions from offline resources tends to be higher than online resources by a large margin, around 40% for a warm referral compared to 10% for an online. So it's a numbers game. So what I coach my clients is to have a balance of both. So you're not too reliant on one or the other, but you need both, especially in today's digital age. And if you're a new attorney, offline is actually better if you're younger in your practice. You may have worked for big law and now have your own practice or started your own practice and are a year or two in. It costs less. It's just your time and allows you to get more direct feedback from potential clients and referral sources about your offering, and more importantly, about how you communicate that offering, your messaging. So that would only help you when you are able to go back when you're actually investing online. But digital rainmaking is here to stay.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So let's talk about growth, okay? When you've worked with clients, you've helped some of your clients achieve, as much as 20% annual growth. There certainly is disruption in the marketplace today. We see it all over the place in terms of disruption from a business development standpoint. So can you speak to us about how to achieve 20% or 20% plus even annual growth as a law firm?
Sure. I have several ideas here. I will suggest that my clients actually enjoy greater than 20%. This year, my clients overall have a track record of 40% growth, which is far higher than the industry average of 3 to 5%. And the reason they are able to achieve that growth are several things. One is they're having to be specific. I work with a lot of clients who are not door lawyers taking anything and everything, but they're not focused enough. They have a lot of ideas. They don't want to miss out on anything. And by not being specific enough, they don't get to know their audience. They don't show expertise in that one area. And they should be as specific as possible. Doesn't mean they have to turn things down. It doesn't mean that they can't do other things. But their messaging and their focus should be as specific as possible. Second thing is, and that's a marketing thing. Second thing is selling with something I call BANT. It's an industry term in the sales world. BANT is making sure that when you're selling to increase your conversion rates, you focus on the budget, the authority, the need, and the timing. If you have all four of those, you generally can convert the sale. If you have 3 out of 4, you can generally overcome the other one. If you have 2 or less, you generally can, and maybe it's worth passing on. So thinking about that BANT when you sell is really important. A third thing is developing your team. If you're not paying attention to your team in the service industry for transparency around your firm and where it's growing and what its mission and vision is, what their contribution is expected of them, and what it means to them, people will move. Over time, they will move to another team, and the disruption could be huge rather than making that investment. If you put systems and processes in place, it allows you to scale. Scale is not just growing, it's actually doing more with the same amount of resources. That's what scaling is. So then managing your numbers, making sure you're on top of your cash flow and your P&L and your investments and your lines of credit and your debt and everything relating to a KPI, relating to how you measure your firm. And then the last two things are doing a 90-day sprint. So that means picking a few things in 90 days that you can get done and you can measure the results and see the progress, and it moves the needle on your firm, like putting in a new online marketing program, changing your website, putting in a new CRM system, things that you can implement within 90 days and see the difference. And then the last thing I would suggest, and it's tooting my own horn, is if you want to grow more than 20, 30, 40%, having a business coach like me, a fractional CEO, can be very helpful because you're setting the right strategic direction and you are being held accountable, and you have somebody who works alongside you, so it's not as lonely a journey. And if you do all of those things, being specific, selling with BANT, develop your team, put systems and processes in place, manage the numbers, do those 90-day sprints, and hire a coach, your chances of success are much higher.
Terrific. And then let's bring it into the context of future sales, right? You're describing a modern day law firm that is run as a business, and not just several professionals that are running a business by default of being in the profession of being lawyers that happen to be running a small business law firm. What are your thoughts about future sales of law firms when lawyers have a fractional CEO, have a CEO type mentality? Where do you see future of law firm sales when lawyers are running their practices as a business?
Well, if they're running things as a business, it'll be that much more fruitful. As we know, a lot of lawyers became lawyers because they love the law. They want to help people. They're very intelligent, but they're specialized in learning about law. They didn't necessarily go to business school. They haven't managed people extensively. And so they grow their firm by trial and error. And there's a reason only 4% of law firms achieve $1 million in revenue a year, and only a quarter of those can sustain it for more than 3 years. So if you're $1 million law firm, you're very accomplished in a minority, and to be able to sustain it even more so. And so, in order to be able to position your business as a professional to consider, I know you shared 5. I have a few of my own that are broader, that allows you to continue to grow your firm and also set it up for just future success. And I look at it as if when I have a new client, I look at it through the eyes as if I were an investor. If they were asking me for $100,000 or more and said, would you invest in my firm? I look at it and say, what does the firm need to have? And certainly they need a pipeline of business. Certainly they need goodwill and other things. But the things that I have experienced in selling my own businesses or helping law firms get set up for sale or acquisition, or looking at the value proposition. Do they have service that's in demand where they are? What's the current sales pipeline, which is something you've mentioned? A diversity of client mix. Is it sustainable? Are there recurring revenues that they can count on as opposed to just one-offs? What does their leadership team look like? Is it just reliant on the person whose name is on the door? And obviously to sustain a business, you need more than just the founder or the one name, and you have a diversity of thoughts and a diversity of responsibility and accountability. Then they have to have systems and procedures. I talked about the scaling to be able to sustain a growing business and have consistency in execution and quality. And then their finances. If they have a lot of debt on their balance sheet and not a lot of equity, if their liabilities are stronger, or bigger than their assets, or headed in the wrong direction, that doesn't make as attractive a firm to be able to acquire or run as you grow. So those who generate more clients online, increase their pipelines, they're more attractive to sell or acquire. But to me, the key is to be able to grow, with your fractional people, online leads, but have an intake process as well that enables higher and higher conversion rates. And as you could probably tell, I look at all these aspects as a business coach. So when an owner's seeking to sell, you can really understand the overall health of the organization, regardless of whether you're in the market to sell or not.
Terrific. Well, Andy Goldstrom, thank you so much for joining us today. Andy leads Midcourse Advisors. Andy, if people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Best thing to do is I'm happy to talk to people about their situation. And if they're seeking to grow, have concerns about a roadmap, a business plan, accountability, and things that help them achieve their personal, professional, financial needs. They can go to midcourseadvisors.com, and there's an opportunity to schedule a no obligation consult and discussion. And if I can help you in any way, that would be terrific.
All right. Again, Andy, thank you so much for joining this bonus segment to the State of the Market for Law Firm Sales.
Thank you for having me. Nice to talk to you, Jeremy.
Great. Thank you.